Hey everybody, we're gonna have a little chat about my 20-gallon office tank here. I was looking at it a few minutes ago and I noticed I've got lots and lots of baby guppies swimming around all over the place. I've got a few that were born a week or two ago. You can see those really small ones, but now we've got all of those little ones in there swimming around. So I was just looking at the tank and I thought I would shoot a little bit of video and have a chat about it. It's looking a little bit rough, but I kind of expected that. For my regular viewers, you'll know that I've been kind of sitting on this tank and waiting to see what happens now that I've added a bunch of sand. I don't think I have enough sand in there to fully be thought of as a deep substrate or a deep bed substrate, but it is more sand than you would typically think of, and it is a very fine sand, so it packs in really densely, and that's important. You want restricted water flow if you're going to go for any kind of denitrification process. You need something that's not non-porous, but you need something that really, really restricts the water flow because you need um, the water to have all the oxygen removed from it in order to develop the type of bacteria you need for that. So I've been kind of sitting on this tank, waiting, watching, doing what kind of water changes I need. But in the meantime, the tank itself just kind of, what it reminds me of is if you've been wearing your hair short for a long time and you've decided you want to grow it out, you've got to go through that horrible growing it out stage. And that's what I feel like we're going through right now. I'm really kind of not messing with the tank. I'm just kind of sitting on it and waiting to see what happens. All of that brown, dead looking stuff right there, I can probably get in there with a vac and remove some of that real quickly. That's the new plant I put in the milfoil from out of the reservoir, and you can see how it's doing well, but the lower portions of it are looking a little rough and dying off. That's probably the original growth that was on there when I brought it home, and then all that green stuff you see is new growth that's generated since I put it in this tank. So I could probably draw that out of there. It wouldn't hurt to do a little bit of a superficial gravel vac, but as I've said before, the sand in this tank is so fine that even getting that gravel vac near the bottom, the gravel doesn't even move. The sand just starts coming up around the gravel. It's almost like a white cloud starts rising up because that really, really fine sand starts coming up. So I'm really just sort of sitting on the tank and leaving it alone. I did top the water off yesterday or possibly the day before. They all run together for me. So I did put maybe 2 gallons of water in it or something. I checked the nitrates right before this video, and that gives you an idea where the nitrates are sitting. So that's still, under 40 parts per million. Not too terribly concerned about that, but they've been sitting right around there for a while now. And I'm starting to wonder if I'm not getting a little bit of denitrification going on. Some of it could be the plant growth, but I don't have a ton of really vigorous plant growth in here. I mean, yes, that one uh, strand of milfoil, or there's actually several strands of milfoil. If we look up here, you can see a few more of them growing into the corner. But I mean, that is not a whole lot of vegetation mass wise, if you think about it, because that's what we're talking about when you're talking about a plant growing and drawing nutrients such as nitrate out of the tank. It has to be growing and putting mass on and building itself up. Think about feeding your house plants. You can't just keep dumping food in a house plant that isn't, it has to be able to consume and utilize the amount of food you're giving it. So for just having a few strands of milfoil in there that might be growing vigorously, that's still not, going to really remove tons of nitrate or anything like that out of the tank. So why I have such low levels after so long without a water change, especially when you consider all of the dead vegetation and stuff that's in there breaking down and deteriorating, that's got to be producing more organic waste and ultimately producing more nitrates in the tank. And yet we're still sitting under 40 parts per million. So maybe I am starting to get a little tiny bit of denitrification and we're just sort of reaching a sort of equilibrium and we're going to sit at a certain spot for a while because it seems to be that we're sitting just around that orangey, almost not quite red color for, I don't know, last 2 weeks now, something like that. So I don't know. We're going to keep sitting on it and watching. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but my very, very shy Pisto that I've got recently has been hiding underneath of the um, power head back there this whole time. It hides back there most of the time. As soon as it sees me come in the room, it just goes and hides. So I'm hoping at some point it will get used to me. If at least, if not, it just starts to associate with me with food or something. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I was actually thinking about putting some guppies in another tank recently, and I was wondering whether I should just pull some guppies out of one of my tanks, or should I go in my little foot tank in the basement and maybe pull a few babies out of there because I always have baby guppies in that tank. And now I've got all those little babies in here, so I think that's probably what's going to wind up going in that other tank. So make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss that or anything else. Like I said, this was just a little bit of a look at and chat about my 20-gallon open topped office tank. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you real soon in the next one.